Hi everyone, and welcome to another fluid art tutorial video. In this video, I'm doing a little resin frog tape experiment. To start off, I've coated the canvas with some of this Musso black paint. I'm sure I'm butchering the name, but it's supposed to be an ultra black paint that absorbs a ton of light. So I've done 2 layers of that, and I've let it fully dry. And this paint is pretty expensive, so I don't use it for my fluid pours, but I do like to use it for little art endeavors like this one. After it had fully dried, I went in and I added this pattern using some frog tape. It's my go-to masking tape for any type of fluid art. It creates nice, clean lines, and it's really easy to peel off after. Normally, I would press it down very firmly, but for this little experiment, I want to do some rough edges. So I've just lightly placed the tape on the canvas. You'll see what I mean farther in the video. So that was our canvas. Now on to the resin part. So I have my magic resin here. It's the tabletop variety. I've used it before in my videos. I find it works really well for fluid art. I have the part A epoxy and part B hardener. I mixed 3 ounces of each A and B, and now I have 6 ounces of the resin mixture. Next, I will be coloring these resins. I'll do a navy blue, a teal blue, a white, and a gold with flakes. I haven't tried that before, so that should be interesting. So my resin's been sitting out for a couple minutes here. So I'm just going to torch the top to get rid of some of those bubbles. I'm not as concerned with bubbles in this piece as I usually am with resin because I find the additives of the mica powder and the alcohol ink eliminates a lot of the bubbles on its own. So I'm just going to divide up this resin into 4. These plastic cups are 3 ounces each, and I'm probably filling about 1.5 ounces. I don't measure exactly, I'm just estimating and trying to make it as equal as possible. So I'll just pour out the last bit of resin here, and we will get to coloring. There we have it. Now let's add in some mixing sticks. I just use these wooden popsicle sticks. And then we will start with the darkest shade. I'm going for a metallic navy blue. So to start, I have some black iridescent mica powder. It came with the magic resin kit. So we're going to go ahead and try it. I'll add a big scoop of that. I want this shade to be very dark. Then I'm going to add in some of this indigo alcohol ink. I like the mica powder for the very metallic finish, and I like to use alcohol ink for vibrant colors. So for our blue colors, we're going to add in some of this alcohol ink. I'm going to mix it all up. And I'm so terrible at always blocking the mixing with my gloved hand. So I will work on that in the future, I promise. But there we have it, a beautiful dark metallic navy. Our dark shade is ready to go here. Let's move on to our lighter blue. So for that, I'm using some teal alcohol ink. I'm going to pour a fair amount. I want this color to be nice and vibrant, and I don't want it to be transparent. Then I'm going to take some of the magic resin mica powder here in primary yellow and primary blue. I will be adding more blue than yellow because I don't want this shade to be too green. I do prefer nice blue shades, especially with the metallics. And sorry if my voice sounds a little off. I'm just getting over a cold, but I really wanted to record this, so we will have to deal with this nasally voice for the time being. So our teal blue is all mixed up, and it is beautiful and metallic and bright. So our 2 blues are ready to go. let's move on to a nice white shade. I don't have white alcohol ink, so we're just going to use mica powder for this one. And I'm going to use a decent amount, 2 big scoops. I don't want it to be transparent. So to make sure it's nice and opaque, I'm going to add in a lot of this mica powder. We'll mix it up. We'll block the mixing with my hand as usual. And you'll see in a second, it is a beautiful iridescent pearly white. So that very light color will contrast well with our 2 blues. That should do it for the white. It's ready to go. This mixes in very easily. And now for the most experimental one. I'm going to be attempting a almost transparent gold. I have this pale gold shade here. It's not a brand I typically use. I don't even know where this one came from, but it's all I have right now. So just a couple drops. I want to see how transparent it is. And yeah, that's a little too transparent. So let's add in a few more drops of the gold. We'll mix that up, and then I'm going to try to add in some of these gold flakes. I've never actually used them with my resin pieces before, but I had it from some kit and I was intrigued to try it. I'm going to try to do some nice and small flakes. I don't want it to be overpowering or just look like giant chunks on the canvas. So this will either turn out beautifully or it will ruin the whole painting, but we gotta try, so I know. Let's try breaking it up into small little pieces here. That should do it. We'll mix up our little experiment cup here. And that's looking pretty cool. I think it will look nice with the other colors. And clearly I'm going for a very metallic look here with all of these colors. I thought the metallic would pop on that ultra black matte paint. Our resin's ready. Let's get to pouring. Canvas is ready to go. It's propped up on 4 upside down cups, and then I have a garbage bag underneath to catch the drippings. The pattern looks kind of stupid here. It looks like it says KY, but I'm planning to hang this vertically. So pattern will look a lot different, but for pouring, we have it at this angle. Now usually with my fluid pours, I layer the cups. But with these pure resin mixtures, I find they mix too much and you don't see any definition of lines. So I'm pouring them one on top of the other. And with each little black area, I'm going to try slightly different patterns and different ratios of the colors. For this bottom corner here, I'm just doing some stripes of all 4 of the resin mixtures. Let's add some of these gold flakes. We'll see how this turns out. And that should be enough resin for this corner. So let's spread it all out. With all the frog tape, I don't need to cover nearly as much of the canvas, so I should definitely have enough resin. I'm not so sure about these gold flakes so far. They kind of just look awkward, but we're going to go with it, and I will adjust how I can to make it look nice. Let's get it over the corner here. And I don't want to waste too much resin by pouring it all off the edges. So I'm just going to get enough over the edges, and then I'm going to use my gloved hand to kind of even it out on the edges. And I'm not showing that on camera either, but that's what I'm doing. I'm taking my glove and I'm spreading it across the edges to even out that resin without wasting too much. I just get so focused, I forget about camera angles sometimes. Now I'm just taking some of these bigger awkward chunks and kind of blending them right in. We'll just tap the corners, make sure all the black is covered. There, I finally showed it on camera. That's what I was doing. Just getting rid of all signs of the black paint there. It's spreading really well and the metallic's covering it easily. There we go, we have one area done. Let's just fix some of these gold flakes. And that should do it. You can see that there's no defined lines. The colors really, really mix together, which is why I didn't layer them in a cup. On to our next little black section. And I'm going to mix it up a bit and make each little black section a little bit different, just to have a nice contrast in the piece. So for this section, I'm only going to add in the white and the gold mixtures. I also think the gold flakes will look really nice contrasted with only the white. So maybe I'll do a couple sections with this combo. I'll just add in a bit more of the flakes there, and that should be enough of the mixture. I'm going to go ahead and spread it across here. Just enough so it's touching the frog tape. I also don't want any of the sections to blend together, so I'm not pouring too much, and I left a decent amount of space between all of them. Now I can see some of the black canvas coming through this mixture. Just gonna pat the edges here, get rid of any black. And at the end I can go back and add a bit more resin. I just want to make sure I have enough room for all the sections. Just spreading it out a bit further, and I'll deal with that little issue of the black showing through later. We'll get on to the next part. So for this one, I'm going to use all of the colors again. I think I'm going to try to make this one very blue. So I'm going to start with the white and the gold and put the blue on top so it shows even more. Go ahead and add in the darkest blue, focusing it on the bottom half. And then I'm going to take the lighter blue and focus it on the top half. Hopefully that will create a slightly different pattern than the other sections. So you can see it really, really blends together easily. I'm just going to spread it across the tape here, make sure every corner is covered. And I will go in after and add more resin to some of these. I'm not adding much here, just to make sure I can get every black section covered. And then whatever I have left, I can create some more unique patterns. Just get the last corner here. Sorry, this process is quite slow, but it is pure resin, so it's thick and moves slowly. And once again, barely showing it on camera. So I'm just getting it over the edge there. And this is really slow. When I keep it in real time, I realize this is probably getting a bit boring to watch, especially with my camera angles. So I'm just going to show one more section because I tried something a bit different. And then we will get to the paint peeling once it had dried. So that's pretty spread out here. I still have some black showing on the side, and I'm just going to tap it out with my hand. Because the resin is so metallic, it's really easy to cover. You can see the black is gone already, and that section is done. So we'll move on to the next section. Oh, I guess I decided to tip it a little bit more. All right, next section. I'm going to try something a bit different here. I'm going to try more of a ring sort of pour by just placing one of the mixtures on top of the other in a circular fashion. Just mixing it up a bit, seeing if we get slightly different patterns. We'll layer some of the golds, some of the lighter blue. And it's already blending together. So I don't think with these metallic resin mixtures, the way you pour it makes a huge difference. They really mix together. So I'm glad I didn't layer them in a cup before. You wouldn't see any definition of colors. So it looks a bit different, but quickly those rings are just disappearing and it's all blending together. But I decided to give it a try, see if we'd get something a bit different. Now I'm spreading it all over the black section. And again, this is probably getting pretty boring to watch and I don't want this video to be crazy long. So let's just fast forward to the dried painting and peeling of the tape. All right, so we will get to peeling the tape, but I just quickly wanted to show the difference between this ultra black paint compared to other typical black paints I use. I have the Malt Mart Black, the Liquitex Mars Black, and then the Musso Ultra Black. I have them dried on a popsicle stick so you can see the difference. And it is a lot darker, but I'm wondering if it's only because it is so matte. Did I pay a lot of money for this little container of paint just because it is matte? Or is there something else going on here to make it so black? If you have any idea, please let me know. But it is pretty cool how much light that is absorbing and how dark it looks. So there we have it, our ultra black paint. Let me know what you think, and let's get on to the next step. So this painting has been sitting out for about 45 minutes. It hasn't fully cured, but that is my intention. I don't want super clean lines. I think it will be too much with the ultra black paint. So I've discovered if you peel it off when it hasn't fully cured, it's very, very sticky. It seeps over the edges, creating this beautiful jagged edge look. But it is so hard to peel off the tape when it is still sticky. I have to be sure not to touch any of the resin. You can see there it's super sticky. So I could still ruin the piece easily if I touch it with my hand or knock it against anything. So this part is honestly so frustrating, and I didn't tape the tape down well. I should have left more of an edge for me to grab. And now underneath I'm trying to deal with grabbing tape through this sticky mess. This took a while, so I'm only going to show peeling a few. Otherwise, you'll be here for 20 minutes with me, and if the sound was on, you'd hear how frustrated I am at this point. But once I wasn't patient, and I peeled it too early when it wasn't fully cured, and that's how I discovered if you do that, you get these really interesting jagged lines. So I'm just trying to peel one at a time here, trying to find any edge I can grab, but my gloves are getting progressively more sticky, and it is so hard. So I'm just reaching under. I'm trying to grab any piece I can. There we go. I got one. And then I have to make sure to hold down the canvas over the tape and not touch any of the resin. So you can see it's a more jagged line. It doesn't look good now. I'm aware of that. I'm going to put a gold outline to really highlight the jagged edges. But I did this process for the whole canvas, and let's just fast forward to that because this took way too long. There we go, one last peel. Let's see how it looks once I got it all off. Here we are. The tape is all off. And this looks like garbage, I'm aware. We still have some finishing touches to do that is going to make this a lot better. So you can see the jagged edges I was talking about. And unfortunately, the tape did take off some of the black paint. You can see little white speckles, but I'm going to take care of that. I also accidentally got some resin on the middle of the black there, but we'll do another coat, and then I'm going to add some gold outlining, and we'll see how it looks. And here we have it. I added a couple more layers of the ultra black paint, and then I outlined all the resin pieces with some gold markers using 2 shades of gold. I think the resin looks really beautiful. I actually love the gold leaf. The black close up, you can see some texture, so I do need to sand that down and do another layer. But there we have it. I still feel like it's missing something. I'm not sure what to add. If you have any ideas, please let me know. But for now, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next time. Bye.